Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carly Stevens. I'm the author of the Tanyuan Academy series, and this is English Nerd. So today I'm continuing the My Favorite Poems series, ones that I've really enjoyed reading or teaching, and I decided to talk about Matthew Arnold's Dover Beach today. Dover Beach is a poem that was written during the Victorian era in England, and it really encapsulates the feeling among the writers at that time. And it also features in Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. If you've read that, then you know there's that part where Guy Montag rushes in and sees his wife with a bunch of her friends, and they're talking about these things that aggravate him about the society. So he decides that he's going to read them something that is illegal to own, and the women are so affected by his reading of this poem that they are in tears by the end. So I don't know that you'll be in tears by the end, but there's a lot of goodness in this poem. So without further ado, here is Dover Beach. Hey there, so I'm looking at Matthew Arnold's Dover Beach. Let's dive in without further ado. The poem is longer than this. Normally I try to choose ones that are only on one page, but this one's going to go on to the next page. Still pretty short though. All right, so it starts off, "The sea is calm tonight. The tide is full. The moon lies fair upon the straits. On the French coast the light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand glimmering and vast out in the tranquil bay. Come to the window, sweet is the night air." So initially it seems like it's going to be some sort of love poem, right? Come to the window, sweet is the night air. Let's appreciate the beauty of what we're seeing here. Clearly he's speaking to somebody who's with him. Dover, by the way, is if you've heard of the cliffs of Dover, he mentions them here, the cliffs of England. It's the place by the English Channel that is closest to France. So on a clear day, you can see across to the French coast from England. It's a pretty short way there. I'm not sure exactly how far, but it's pretty close. So he's looking out at the sea. Everything is calm. Everything is beautiful. And we have England, and he's looking out to France. Sweet is the night air. So the setup is really beautiful and positive. So here we get a turn, and his thoughts begin to go dark. Only is a favorite turn of Matthew Arnold. There's at least one other poem, if not two, that he uses this as almost a thoughtful ... only also this, something that's a lot darker than what I was talking about before. So only from the long line of spray where the ebb meets the moon-blanched land, listen, you hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves suck back and fling at their return up the high strand. So I love this imagery here. We have some aural imagery, so listening imagery. We hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves suck back and fling at the return up the high strand. There's even some ways that the form supports the content here, how the style actually mimics what he's talking about. There's this grating roar of the waves going back and forth and back and forth, and with all of these commas, it's going back and forth and back and forth, back and forth. These commas in between, by the way, these breaks here are known as caesuras. Caesuras mimic waves going back and forth. So we hear almost that grating roar of pebbles, which is just lovely. Okay, time to turn the page. No, that's not it. Come on now. Here we go. Okay, so we're all continuing and good to go. Now, here we see more of those caesuras begin and cease, and then again begin. You see it's going forward, going back, with tremulous cadence slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. So there's this grating roar underlying this beautiful sea that seems to be calm. It seems to be beautiful with the moon and all of that. But underneath it all, there is this grating roar just beneath the surface. And what we have here is a pretty clear metaphor for Victorian England. It seems to be ordered, it seems to be positive. That was a time when there was a lot of prosperity in England, and yet underneath there was this lingering sort of sense of hopelessness and desperation and confusion and isolation that just afflicted many people, including Matthew Arnold, who was one of the just poster children of the age. So underneath everything that seems good is something that is most definitely not. Okay, next stanza. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. We find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. The thing that stands out to me most here, it maybe should be the allusion to Sophocles and all of that, but it's not. It's this line here that is short and connects the idea of human misery with we. On this side, we have this ancient sense of human misery and the ebb and flow of pain, and then on this side, we have us, meaning the narrator, of course, and perhaps the one he's with, as well as his society, experiencing the same thing but in a different place on earth. So here is where we see the connection of human misery and then we. I really like that that's the case. And of course you can see that there's not a lot of pattern here in the way that Matthew Arnold writes. Now he does use cadences to mimic those waves, etc., and that kind of thing, but it's not like it's written in iambic pentameter. It's not like it's a sonnet or something like that. So he has some creative freedom for how long these lines actually are. And this one is short, so it stands out and it connects these ideas. Okay, next stanza. The sea of faith was once two at the full, and round earth's shore lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled. But now I only hear its melancholy, long withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind, down the vast edges, drear and naked shingles of the world. Whew, that is it. That is a good stanza there. I just first need to point out how amazing this line is. It's melancholy, long withdrawing roar. We get these long, drawn out adjectives before we get the roar, and it almost sounds like a melancholy, long withdrawing roar. You have to say it, and by the time you get to the end, unless you take big long breaths here, you're almost out of breath. It feels like one kind of thought all the way to the end. It's beautiful. But anyway, so the point here is the sea of faith was once two at the full, much like the sea, right? The sea is the ongoing metaphor here in a variety of ways. In Victorian England, when Arnold was writing, there was a crisis of faith happening. It was an epidemic at the time. Before this, if you think about the Middle Ages, if you think about the Renaissance, pretty much everybody believed in England in one form of Christianity or another. And yet here in Victorian England, there was definitely a separation between there wasn't that same certainty of Christian beliefs that there had been before, and people felt not freed by this, but unmoored and disturbed by the idea that they could no longer hang on to the ideas that they had found so pivotal before. And so they were still grasping for meaning, and in some cases for even the supernatural. But what they got was just this pervasive sense of uncertainty. And so the sea of faith was once two at the full, but now it's withdrawing in this melancholy way. It's like it's going away from us, retreating to the breath of the night wind, falling down. And what are we going to do now that this kind of spiritual certainty is is gone. So that brings us to the final stanza. And of course, I'm skipping over a lot of good stuff. You can take a closer look at it at your leisure, but these are the things that stand out to me. I should probably do this. Okay, last stanza. Ah, love. Oh, that's right. He's with somebody, right? This is like the worst love poem ever, except for Proof Rock. Ah, love, let us be true to one another. For the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. And we are here as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. Whew, that ending just punches you in the face. So let's pick it apart just a little bit here. So he returns in this stanza to a lot of the ideas of the first. Of stanza 1. There we go. We get the idea of that he's with somebody, right? Come to the window, sweet is the night air. And we also get this idea that the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams. The sea is calm tonight. Remember at the beginning, the moon is full. It's beautiful out there with this sea, but underneath we have the pebbles, the grating roar. And it's the same idea here where it seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new. All these things are happening, new inventions, new improvements. And yet underneath it all, there's this grating roar. I'm just gonna put that here. Roar is used a couple of times too, which is interesting. It's like this desperate cry. So there's a grating roar underlying everything, that there is neither joy nor love nor light nor certitude. That was huge at the time. They wanted certainty, and who doesn't? Who doesn't want something to have like as the bedrock under their feet? And all of that felt shifting at the time. Nor peace nor help for pain. I mean, gosh, way to just twist the knife there, Arnold. And we are here as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. So there's a struggle, there's pain, there's even violence, but it's not because of anything noble or impressive. Instead, it's just this ebb and flow of human misery, right? I'm just gonna put this over here. So it's this ebb and flow of human misery that doesn't really have that kind of grand meaning that war was thought to have had in the past, or pain was thought to have had in the past. And the only solution that Arnold suggests here, amidst all of this hopeless dreariness, is let us be true to one another. Let us be true to one another. Let's at least have each other and support each other in this world that seems not to have a foothold to hang on to. So that is the poem. I know it's really dark, but it does such beautiful things, and the language is so gorgeous that you can hear that desperation for meaning even in the beauty of the language, much like Shakespeare and some of his soliloquies that talk about despair, and you can sense the desire for meaning just in the beauty of the language. So there you go, Dover Beach. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that analysis of Matthew Arnold's Dover Beach. As always, this is for teaching and for appreciation, but this is not for wholesale stealing for your paper or anything. I am not going to help you plagiarize in any way, so just, have your own ideas. There's definitely more to the poem than I talked about, so do your own digging and find more. That's one of the beautiful things about great works, is that you can keep digging and you can keep finding more. So that is it for today. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe for more English nerdy goodness, and I'll see you next week. Bye.